Welcome back to another video, and today we got our Week 2 NFL game predictions. We're going to be going through every single game, all 16, making our game predictions, kind of an analysis, as well as a brief recap of last week's games. And yeah, we're just going to be going through our picks. We also got a couple of my buddies here who will make their picks. They're not here with me. It's only going to be me talking, but I do have their picks here. Real quick, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. We're doing college football top 25 rankings every Tuesday. We're doing MLB videos every week. We also do college basketball and NBA videos weekly when those seasons are going. So if any of that interests you, make sure you go down there, subscribe, turn on the noties. Let's go ahead and look at the standings. I am in first place. I've won this. We've done this 4 years now. This is the 5th year. I've won all 4 years. So we'll see. We're already starting out great. I mean, we already got first place 12-4. Everybody else had a pretty rough week. It is week 1, but I didn't think it was that hard, honestly. We only had me and one other guy over 10 right. I mean, that's pretty bad, as in all honesty. So at this point, the only thing that matters is my opinion. No, I'm just kidding. But I have won 4 years in a row. We're hoping to make it 5, and I'm already in first, so it's a good start. We're starting off with a pretty good game here Thursday night, week 2. Sorry. Commanders at Packers. The Packers looked really good last week. They go out and beat the Lions 27-13. The Lions really couldn't do anything. The Packers defense looks like one of the best, maybe the best defense in the league right now. Jordan Love looked really solid. The Commanders also looked pretty good, winning 21-6. It was against the Giants. I think so far the Packers have honestly looked a little bit more impressive. I'm going to go ahead and take them at home in the short week, but could the Commanders win for sure? The Commanders made the NFC Championship last year. The Commanders are a really good team. I'm going to trust this Packers defense, though, in a short week at home. I think they get it done. Jordan Love didn't look all that special, but they held the Lions to 13 points. Maybe the Lions are just struggling without their coordinators. I was kind of worried about that. I'm going to trust the Packers, though, at home to get this win in primetime. We'll see, though. Could the Commanders win this game for sure? Washington is one of the best teams in the league as well. I think these are two of the best teams in the league. Jaguars-Bengals. This is an interesting one. The Jaguars beat the Panthers 26-10. I thought that game would be potentially a shootout. I was really excited to see the Jaguars just handled them the entire way through. The Panthers offense just couldn't do anything. Maybe it's just because it's the Panthers, but the Jaguars defense did look pretty solid, as well as the offense. I was very interested to see how much Travis Hunter would play on defense. He didn't really play much. It was mostly offense, which is kind of what I figured. But I obviously wanted to see it. The Jaguars did go ahead and just trade Tank Bigsby. Travis Etienne looks really good right now. So hopefully, he's been kind of all over the place his career. So we'll see if he can get some consistency. The Bengals probably should have lost to the Browns. It felt like they were trying to lose. I mean, no matter what they do, they just can't seem to figure it out early in the season. Chase Brown had 21 carries for only 43 yards. Burrow only had 113 passing yards in a game that I thought could be very high scoring. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase really didn't do anything. Really, the whole offense didn't. But they did win, which is good. Good to get a win there. I think that just goes to show how bad the Browns are. Honestly, if this was in Jacksonville, I'd probably take the Jaguars. They did look really good last week, and the Bengals just always struggle early in the year. I'm going to go with the Bengals, though. I think they're the safer pick. They're at home. Obviously, they're the far more talented team. They have a way higher ceiling. They're only favored by 3.5, so I guess that's interesting, probably factoring in what I just said. The Jaguars looked really good, and the Bengals just really didn't. I'm still going to go with them, though. They're just too talented to not pick them. Could this come back to bite me? For sure. The Bengals just can't figure it out early in the season, so we'll see if they can manage to win this game. The Jaguars are definitely a better team than the Browns, so we will see. Giants-Cowboys, kind of a big rivalry game. I feel like the Giants always play the Cowboys pretty well. I could actually see the Giants going out and winning this game, but I'm going to take the Cowboys to win in a bounce-back game. They're favored by 5.5, and I just don't think they start out 0-2, especially with the game against the Giants here. I think Javonte Williams looked pretty promising there on the ground for them, and I just think the Cowboys are just much more talented overall. The Cowboys actually looked pretty serviceable against the Eagles there Thursday night. Obviously, they did lose, and the Eagles were without Jalen Carter because of that whole situation. But, they were winning for a good amount of that time. The Giants really did not look all that impressive. The Cowboys only lost by 4 points. I think the spread was like 8.5. The Giants lost by 15. I think the Cowboys are just a much more complete team overall. I'm going to take them to get a win here. It's also at home, so it's kind of hard to not pick them. Bears Lions, this one should be interesting. I feel like there's a lot to talk about with both these teams. Starting out with the Lions, they go out and lose 27-13. One of their touchdowns was in garbage time. They just couldn't score the ball. That's really what it came down to. I guess Ben Johnson was really that important because they were struggling, man. It was 17-13 it was 17-3 at halftime. The Lions didn't score a touchdown till literally the end of the game, like 3 minutes left in the game. Um, I mean, it was actually really only it was with a minute left in the game. I thought it was 3 minutes. It was even later than I thought. So the Lions I'm a little worried about them. I'm not going to panic too much. It is week one. They're still going to get adjusted to the coordinator changes and the play calling changes. But, man, that's not a good look. Maybe the Packers' defense is just that elite, but the Lions, I don't know if they can go from, you know, the best offense in the league last year to being, 6 points, really. I mean, I know they finished with 13, but that touchdown doesn't really count. The Bears, though, Caleb Williams, I'm getting a little worried. I don't want to overreact because it is just the first week of his second year ever. But, man, he just holds the ball for way too long. It's like he's trying to make the big play always. He doesn't really ever take any risks. It's like he's playing to improvise. He's trying not to make mistakes, so he doesn't want to, throw the ball into tight windows. He kind of overthrows guys sometimes. He's scrambling. The scrambling did look nice, but he's got to get the ball out a little quicker, make it a little easier for the O-line, if you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, the Bears probably should have won that game against the Vikings. They let it slip away in the fourth, giving up 21 points. It was a painful watch as a Bears fan. With that being said, I'm going to take the Lions. They're much more talented by far. I know they looked really bad. They probably looked worse than the Bears did. But they're at home. They're more talented. I trust them more, and I just can't trust the Bears right now. So I'm going to take the Lions at home. But we've got some good splits so far. Rams-Titans, I actually wouldn't blame anyone for picking the Titans in this game. I think the Titans are maybe the sleeper of the week. I think they looked okay against the Broncos. The Broncos maybe have the best defense in the league. I know the Rams also have a really good defense, so we'll see if that, plays a factor at all. But the Rams are without their two starting guards, I think, for this game. I really like what the Titans got going on the D-line there with T'Vondre Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons. That's dangerous, especially with the Rams O-line being banged up. I'm still going to pick the Rams. The Rams looked really solid last week against the Texans. They won 14-9. It was a low-scoring game, but they were shutting down the Texans offense, which I think is much better than the Titans at this point. It is still Cam Ward's second ever start. I think Stafford will get the win. I think they're the better team. Puka was a little banged up, but I think he's good. Devontae Adams looks solid. Kyron Williams looks solid. So I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to trust Sean McVay, but I could definitely see the Titans going out and winning this game at home. I wouldn't be shocked. But the Rams are 5.5-point favorites. I'm going to take them. Patriots, Dolphins. I could definitely see this one going either way as well. We got 4 on the Patriots, 1 on the Dolphins. The Dolphins just looked like the worst team in the league last week. 33-8 against the Colts. They couldn't score. They couldn't move the ball. There was a point in the second half where they had 60 total yards. It was actually abysmal. I'm not exaggerating when I say they looked like the worst team in the league last week. However, I'm going to take them. Maybe this is a mistake. They're at home. I feel like they always play the Patriots well. The Patriots also didn't look great last week. They lost 20-13 to the Raiders. The Raiders aren't anything special. They also had the game at home. Only put up 13 points. I don't know, man. Diggs really didn't look like he was doing all that much. I guess he had 6 receptions for almost 60 yards. But he was getting out-targeted by Kayshon Boutte. Travion Henderson didn't really do much either. They couldn't get the ground game going. I could see the Dolphins winning this game just because it's at home. The weather's going to be really hot. You know how they have the sidelines where the Patriots will be standing in the heat, so maybe that helps them a little. I'm just going to trust the Dolphins playmakers, but one more week of this, if they go out and lose to the Patriots in convincing fashion, I'm probably out on the Dolphins. I'm just not going to panic over week one. like everyone else seems to be doing. We got 4 on the Patriots. I'm going to take the Dolphins at home. I think this is very close, though. Niners Saints. The story with the Niners. George Kittle placed on IR. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. CMC is healthy. We were worried if he was going to play last week. He looked great. He looks fully healthy, ready to go. Jawan Jennings gets banged up. It looks like he's going to play. But Brock Purdy, I just saw news that he is unlikely to play in this game against the Saints. The crazy thing is I don't think it matters. They have Mac Jones in there as the backup. I think he's going to be serviceable. I think he's going to be somewhat equal to Spencer Rattler and the Saints, what they got going on over there. The Saints played the Cardinals at home, only put up 13 points. The Cardinals' defense, I promise, is not anything too special. Spencer Rattler threw the ball 46 times, only had just barely over 200 passing yards. He looks really bad. I think the Niners just have way more guys, even with them being so banged up, which I feel like they are every year, but I mean, already they're losing key pieces. But it looks like Jennings will play. It looks like Pearsall will play. CMC is obviously good to go. Maybe this will be a battle between CMC and Kamara. That could be kind of fun. But I'm going to take the Niners. I can't go with the Saints by myself. It's just too risky of a pick. Wondering what the line is on this game. Niners 2.5. Really not that big of a spread. I'm assuming they're taking into account Brock Purdy being out, or at least not confirmed, but he's likely to sit this game out, and I heard he could miss multiple weeks, so that could be a big blow for the Niners. We know how easy that schedule is. That'll make it a little bit more evened out, it seems. Bills-Jets. The Jets looked really strong. I know they lost, but they put up 32 points against the Steelers' defense, which is one of the best in the league. Justin Fields was making plays left and right. Garrett Wilson was as well. Breece Hall was really, really solid. This team looked really good, if I'm being honest. And I'm kind of a lot more excited about the Jets going into the rest of the season than I was coming into it. After week 1, I know they lost, like I said, but they very well could have won that game. If it wasn't for the Bills Ravens game, the Jets-Steelers game was probably the game of the week. And which is crazy because I thought that was going to be the most boring game. I thought it was like 40 the over-under, I think, maybe even less than that. I thought there was a chance it could hit the under. It was 32-31, I want to say, 32-30, something like that. I mean, it was just a ridiculously high-scoring game for no reason. 34-32. I mean, but then we look at the Bills. Josh Allen just looks like the best player in the league. They come back from down 15 points with less than 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter against the Ravens, arguably the best team in football, and they win the game. I have to go with the Bills. I can't ignore a performance like that. Josh Allen just looks like the best player in the league. The Ravens were making mistakes, I know, but I just can't ignore the fact that the Bills went out and won that game, and they were still looking pretty solid even when they were trailing. So I got to go with the Bills here. It just feels like an easy pick. Seahawks-Steelers, this could be interesting. The Seahawks maybe could have had that game, if they limit some of those plays the Niners end up making. They lost 17-13. The Steelers, though, just look so solid. I am a little concerned that the defense isn't where you'd want it to be. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers will be able to go out and throw 4 passing touchdowns every week. Now, if he can, then they could be scary. I don't know if he will. This is kind of a DK Metcalf revenge game. Last week we got the Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields revenge game for the Steelers. Now you get the DK Metcalf revenge game, so we'll see what happens here. But I'm going to trust the Steelers at home. I think the defense bounces back. Maybe I'm just not understanding the Steelers' game plan this year, but I feel like they still have to be a defense-first team. I feel like their games are still going to be low scoring. Maybe it was just a fluke because it was week 1. Could definitely be the case. But I think the Steelers' defense will allow them to get through. JSN looks like the only guy in Seattle that is relevant. Kenneth Walker didn't do anything. Cooper Kupp looks absolutely washed. So that is a little concerning. And yes, Tariq Woolen had a pretty bad game last week as well. I'm going to take the Steelers at home. Browns-Ravens feels like a really easy one. I know the Browns almost beat the Bengals last week, but I got to go with the Ravens at home. They probably should have beat the Bills. If they limit some of those mistakes, like I said, they probably do. Derrick Henry looks like he will just never fall off. That guy is timeless every year. I feel like I'm worried. Oh, this might be the year he takes a step back. It just is never the case. I mean, this guy just continues to get better. Almost it feels like. I mean, yeah, I just really just no words. He is one of the best running backs I've ever seen. Maybe the best running back I've ever seen. Um, and that just that's just him. I mean, you got the rest of the team. The Ravens looked like the better team than the Bills. The Bills just had Josh Allen. Um, I think the Ravens win here, no questions asked. They're favored by 11.5. That is ridiculous. Broncos Colts, an interesting game. The battle between the two horse teams. The Colts look pretty good. Now, how much of that was the Colts being better than we thought? How much of that was the Dolphins being worse than we thought? I think it was a little bit of both. Um, the Broncos actually did not look that great. They beat the Titans 20-12, but it was a very close game throughout. I think the Broncos have a bounce back game. I think they win. I don't think Daniel Jones will be able to do much against this defense. I think the Broncos defense is maybe the best in the league. Probably either them or like the Texans, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, I'm having a hard time figuring out how the Colts will be able to move the ball. Maybe because it's at home, they get a little bit of a bump. And yes, they did blow out the Dolphins last week, which was very impressive. But how much of that was just week one shenanigans? I think the Broncos clearly have the better chance, the better team, and the better chance to get to the playoffs this season. So I'm going to take them. I'm going to fade the Colts a little bit. Maybe them and Daniel Jones continue to prove me wrong, though. That would be a crazy story, wouldn't it? Panthers Cardinals. I feel like we're seeing too many guys on the Panthers. Last week there was like 4 on the Panthers. I might have been the only one on the Jaguars. Now we got 3 on the Panthers. I'm going with the Cardinals. I know Bryce Young looked really good in the second half of last season, but I can't ignore what I just saw. He looked absolutely terrible once again. Maybe, Bryce Young is back to being the worst quarterback in the league. We'll see. I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm still holding out hope for him. I still think they have a lot of pieces on the offense with Chuba Hubbard. Ted McMillan looked pretty solid. He looked like already wide receiver 1 on that team, which, we kind of knew because they no more Jalen Coker. They traded out in Thielen, but, it's good to have that confirmation as always. But, yeah, he's going to be an exciting player to watch. Besides that, though, I just think the Cardinals are much better here. I think Marvin Harrison had a great game last week. I think he's going to continue that. And if he breaks out, this team is going to be a little bit scary, honestly. So I'm going to take Arizona at home. They end up beating the Saints last week, but at least they won. The Panthers end up losing. They're also touchdown favorites, which is kind of a lot, actually. But I am going to take them to win this game. Eagles-Chiefs. We get the Super Bowl rematch here. Exciting game. Eagles favored by 1.5. I'm surprised we don't have more on the Chiefs. It is in Arrowhead, so it's going to be loud. Maybe it's just because, the Chiefs lost last week to the Chargers. Didn't look all that great. I'm going to take the Eagles. I just think the injuries are a little too much here. No Xavier Worthy in this game. No Rashee Rice, but obviously we knew that. Pacheco just looks like absolute garbage. I'm really worried about him. What will the Chiefs do at running back? We'll see. Obviously, they still have Mahomes, Kelsey. But, yeah, the receivers, Xavier Worthy being out, kind of limits their big play upside, in my opinion. Now, Hollywood Brown looked pretty good last week. But it obviously sucks having your 2 best receivers out. I think the Eagles didn't play all that great against the Cowboys. They still end up winning. Jalen Carter will be back in this game. That's their best defensive player. And I just think the Eagles' offense will have a nice bounce-back game. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith did absolutely nothing. We could see them maybe have to get more involved here. I think it'll be a closer game than the Cowboys game was. I could definitely see the Chiefs winning at home, though, for sure. Like I said, I'm surprised we got 5 on the Eagles here. I feel like it should be closer to a split. Then we got the Sunday night game, Falcons versus Vikings. An interesting little game here. The Falcons played a close game with the Buccaneers. They almost sent it to overtime. Young-Ho Koo did miss the field goal to send it to overtime, so they were right there. Michael Penix looks really good. Kyle Pitts was actually getting involved. Don't sleep now. Kyle Pitts, maybe he's back. We'll see. Bijan, obviously, with the big screenplay. Bijan's just ridiculous. Drake London. Got a little banged up. I think he's okay, though. Moving on over to the Vikings. They got a comeback win against the Bears, and J.J. McCarthy looked really good in the fourth quarter, really in the second half. And that defense obviously was really strong, but we kind of knew that already. This Vikings roster is still loaded. People kind of forget that because they have the new quarterback, but the roster is still really good. I mean, they won 14 games last year. I don't know if they do that again this year, but you never know. I mean, their coach is just an absolute genius, it feels like. And it looks like he's got a pretty solid QB there at the helm. J.J. McCarthy versus Penix, it's a little rematch from the 2023 national championship game there with Michigan and Washington. I think it's the same result. I think J.J. McCarthy leads his team to another victory over Penix. I think with the Vikings having the home field here, it helps out a lot. If this was in Atlanta, it'd be a lot closer for me. I'd actually almost consider picking the Falcons. But I think the Vikings are overall the better team, overall more complete, better coached. I'm going to take them at home in the primetime game. Our first of 2 Monday night games. It's weird we have 2 Monday night games in week 2. But Tampa-Houston, this should be a fun one. Houston's actually favored in this game by 2.5. I'm going to go against the spread. I'm going to take the Buccaneers. I know most of us have the Buccaneers, but it just feels like the Buccaneers are slightly better. The Texans only put up 9 points last week. That's a little concerning. With the Buccaneers, they looked pretty solid against the Falcons. I know both these teams did play good teams, but the Buccaneers did just look better. Emeka Egbuka, 2 touchdowns in his debut game. He's going to be dangerous. Bucky Irving looks like a really solid running back. We kind of already knew that, though. Obviously, they still got Mike Evans. They still got all those guys on the defensive side. And you could say the same thing with the Texans. I am a little worried about how C.J. Stroud looked. Hopefully he can get back to his rookie year, his numbers. But last week it wasn't looking all that great. Nico Collins really didn't do anything. They're still without Joe Mixon. But that defense is really solid, so we'll see if they can contain the Bucs. I could see it for sure. I'm not mad that the Texans are favored at home here, but I'm going to go with Tampa. I think it's going to be very close, though. Maybe one of the best, probably might be the best game of the week. Actually, no, I take it back. Eagles-Chiefs is probably the best game. Commanders-Packers is really good, too, but this is up there for sure. Probably top 3 for me. And then we got the second Monday night game. It's going to be kicking off at 10 p.m. Eastern time. It's a late one. Not really sure why they're doing this again. But they are, so I guess I'm excited. We got 2 games on Mondays, 3 hours apart, so we're not going to have to wait in between games. That's kind of nice. But the Chargers coming off a big win in Brazil against the Chiefs. Justin Herbert looked ridiculous. He threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Raiders also coming off a win. They looked pretty solid. I probably should have picked them against the Patriots. I was saying the Raiders, I was thinking the Raiders, and I picked the Patriots. Maybe I'm doing the same thing here again. I could see the Raiders winning this game at home. I think Geno Smith, Genty didn't do all that much, but I think he'll get better as the season goes on. Brock Bowers was a little banged up. I think he's going to be fine, though. Jacoby Myers looked really good for the Raiders as well. But when you look at the Chargers, you can say the same thing about Hampton. He didn't really do much week 1, but I think he'll get better as the season goes on. I think Herbert already looks in solid form. And I have a hot take. I think Herbert, if the Chargers go out and win this division, if they win the division over the Chiefs, if they finish like 12-5, I can honestly see Herbert winning the MVP if he keeps this up. Now, it's going to be hard to beat out Josh Allen, Lamar. We know those are probably going to be the other guys with him. But I think Herbert could be a little sneaky MVP pick right now. He's probably my dark horse. And yeah, I mean, you look at the weapons. Ladd McConkey didn't really do much, but it's fine because Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen were getting receptions left and right. I mean, Herbert finally has some weapons, and that is pretty scary if you're another team. They also still have a really good defense. I'm going to take the Chargers. I am really high on the Chargers as of right now. Maybe I'm too high, but I mean, I don't know, man. I think the Chargers could be really sneaky. I could see them winning the division over the Chiefs and getting like a top 3 seed in the AFC. I really could. I think the Chargers are that good. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but that is going to do it for the Week 2 NFL picks. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you go on there, leave a like, subscribe if you are new. Comment down below what you agree, what you disagree, hot takes, dark horses for the rest of the season. Anything you really want to comment, any questions, definitely go ahead and comment those. I'll respond to those as soon as I see them. But that is going to do it. Like this video if you enjoyed. Make sure you go down in the description. Follow me on X. I post every time I post a video. I also post some other things as well. And yeah, I think that's all. We're gonna, we have college football every Tuesdays. Tune into that. Check out that video. Dropped it yesterday. We do MLB videos every week. Check out that video. I dropped that on Monday. And yeah, we also do college basketball, NBA. So if any of that interests you, subscribe, noties, make sure you don't miss. But that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.